in today's world, we have such a major impact, and it really starts in our home, right? We nurture our children, we take care of our family, we take care of, at some point we get to a place where we're taking care of our parents, and it's just who we are. I don't know if that's where God made us, but that's who we are. But I do know in this today's world, women have really stood up and just went to bat for our people. When you look at what Stacey Abrams has done, you look at what Senator Placid has done, you look at Kamala Harris, and we're just standing up and rising up to the occasion. And those are the ones that are celebrity type individuals. But then jump over to those of us that are in our actual communities, and we're just doing some phenomenal things in our communities.
That's great. That's great. And speaking of community, you, Crystal, when we were hit last year, this time with COVID, an anniversary, COVID anniversary.
And actually it is the COVID anniversary, right? Yes. This is the weekend where everybody went down, and
this was the weekend, man. This is it. And what did Crystal do last year when we were slapped upside the head with COVID? She jumped out there and she decided to start a community program, a community briefing program, because someone who didn't know how to do community briefings. Instead of talking about the problems and solutions that we were facing with this pandemic, he was talking about himself and how he's rich and famous. So Crystal went out there and she showed him how to do community briefings. And she's been talking about problem solution ever since last year on this community briefing program. She's got some famous people on there, politicians, church people. Yesterday she had Danetta Jackson from the state of California, DGS, speaking about their procurement program. So, Crystal, kudos to you.
Well, and even that, but I thought that, it seemed to me that for our community, if we don't take care of our community, if we don't make sure our community gets information firsthand, then we usually find this information out on the back burner after it's too late to make any changes, and after it's too late to apply for any of the loans. So I thought, well, the best thing we can do is bring the people that are sitting at the table making the decisions, bring them to the people. The people can't get to them, so let's just bring the people to the people. Let's bring those that are our leaders and our stakeholders in our community and bring them. So I'm big on collaboration, so I collaborated with the BBA.
Yes.
And I launched the community briefings, and others in our community, and they were in agreement with helping us out to make sure that we got the information and the message to the people. Yeah. And so it's been a year. And the show is moving forward, and it's created its own mind. And then actually our guest today, Miss Colette Moore, she comes on every week to give us an update to make sure that we're on top of things. And so there's so many things that our community lacks, and it lacks it a lot of times just out of lack of information. Like right now, we're going through the vaccine, making sure everyone gets vaccinated, right? Well, as usual, our community is on the back burner. And so even when we create programs that are supposed to be designed to help our community, other communities come in to take advantage of it. So we've had to become like guerrilla warfare. Yesterday, my sister told me I was being extremely harsh because the Urban League, she said, "You're just being mean today." I said, "Yes, I am," because the Urban League is partnered up with FEMA, and they're providing vaccinations for our community. But the day before, I was looking around and where you could get a vaccine, and I went over to Kedron, which is over deep in South Central LA, off of Avalon and San Pedro, right? And I go and I'm like, wait a minute, there's like 900 people in line, and 1% of those people look like the Black and the brown people that live in that community. What's wrong with that picture?
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what's been going on.
Right. And so it's just, we have to be the ones that enforce it. So somebody posted the link on about the Urban League, and I had to jump over everybody because, like, look, we have to take care of our own. We shouldn't have to apologize for wanting to make sure our community is taken care of. And so those are just the things that women have to do. So this is Women's History Month, and the theme this month is Valiant Women Refusing to be Silent. So I have decided that I am not being silent.
That's right.
I'm going to be loud and boisterous. And if they don't like it, I'm not apologizing for it. I'm just going to be who I am until we get some things that are going on. That's supposed to go on in our community. Did you see how many Republican states are actually changing the voting laws?
Yeah, they're ridiculous. 43 of them. They're just, you know how I'm trying to find a way to describe this. You know, people who don't really have a purpose and they're trying to make themselves seem relevant. So they go out and create some problems and some issues so their names can be associated with it. That's what that is. Right. That's exactly what that is. So, you know, they're pretty much irrelevant. You know, they're just trying to be fire starters, you know, trying to block things, but it's not going to last. It's not going to last.
But remember, if they actually get these laws passed, you know, our ancestors fought hard to vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if they actually get these laws passed and we are eliminated from the process, and we can see this is probably the first election that everybody was involved in and that everyone jumped in to do what they were supposed to do. And we made a difference.
Right.
So that's the fear, right? That if millions of people are voting and getting their vote there and walking through rain, sleet, snow, then we can't get our people in office. So what we're going to do, as usual, we're going to change the rules of the game.
Well, the thing is, voting is supposed to be a federal thing. So whatever laws they make is not going to supersede the federal law. So when Congress, you know, pass these other laws to supersede what they're doing, it's going to be a moot point for them. So, you know, I'm not even concerned much about the little noise they're trying to make. It's just so ridiculous. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in to the show, this is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic and business coach. And what we do on this show, we provide information to not only help entrepreneurs and small businesses, but also to help the community so people can become aware and understand what they need to do in community to help economic resources. Now, as most of you guys know out there, this is what we call an economic desert. An economic desert is a place where there's not too many economic opportunities for small businesses and people of color. So we're trying to overcome that by teaming up with a variety of different resources, and that's why we've got two fantastic guests on this show today. So we would like you to communicate with us while you're listening. I want you to type in any questions that you may have of our guests, and you know, you'll get your answers written in the boxes right there. So just go to the link on the show. You can subscribe to the show by going to Facebook and subscribe, or you can also go to YouTube and subscribe. So just click that bell and subscribe, and we'll be able to provide you anything you need. Go ahead, Crystal. It's all yours.
Yes, that is so true. So are we ready to move forward with our guests?
Oh, yes.
Introduce our guests. So
I want to hear these phenomenal women. Yes.
So we're going to the order here, where I think we're going to end up with Colette, because Colette brings so much different value for the community, and I know she is our weekly correspondent.
Yeah,
Colette, you don't know it, but you've become our weekly correspondent on the community briefing, and it's such value she brings, and PCR is just doing such amazing work in our community. And let me tell you a little story about community PCR. So I when I first, this is before RBD, this is before I became the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. This was me, Crystal, the entrepreneur, right? So I'm going out doing my networking, I'm meeting people, and so one of the first events that I went to was the Los Angeles Black Business Expo, and which was sponsored, and the founder is Miss Barbara Lindsay. Phenomenal event. It must have been over that 3-day period, hundreds of maybe 20,000 people that actually showed up over those first 3 days. That's how I met Muhammad Nazardine. That was at that time the founder of Recycling Black Dollars. And then I started meeting, and so I go to this event and I'm walking down and I see this sign in this Pacific Coast Regional Center, and I'm going, who are they? I mean, because I had met some other individuals and like, what do they do? And they just had all of this literature. And I knew they were up on Wilshire. And so I got to meet them. But who knew that 20-something, 30 years later, they would be an amazing part of my world, right?
A force in the community.
That I would be part of all of these people, the Los Angeles Urban League, Vermont Slauson. It's like, it's just been an amazing journey. And but PCR is just bringing such amazing work and information, especially during this time when getting monies to our small businesses, after the pandemic, was vitally important. And they have just done an awesome job making sure that the information was clear and concise, and that they have these workshops. So when Colette comes on in a little bit, she'll be able to give you so much more. So she's now becoming a correspondent for the Business Zone.
Oh, yeah.
But we're also going to learn a little bit more about, because we only get the PCR side of her. I'd like to know a little bit more about Colette, the woman, and who she is and where she came from. But before we do that, let's just move on to our first guest, which is Miss Cami Taylor. Now, Cami is one of your consultants, right? Doesn't she sub with you?
Yeah, she's one of my co-consultants on the Buchanan and Associates team. Cami is just phenomenal. Once we introduce her, I'll tell you a little bit backstory about how I met Cami.
All righty. So Cami is a business consultant. She does HR support, marketing support. She is, as she calls herself, the business connector.
All right.
As she says in her bio, she is the extension of the business.
That's right.
Yeah. And so she provides and helps small businesses, small to medium businesses, with implementing processes to ensure they have the resources necessary for longevity and sustainability. So we're going to bring her on. She has a very lengthy bio, but we're going to let her talk about herself and just tell us who she is and how her journey started. So welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Business Zone, Miss Cami Taylor.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yes.
Oh, perfect. So yes, I have over 20 years of experience, started in corporate America, of course. Started actually with Sprint and was able to learn a lot of what I currently do and be able to capitalize on that. I started in retail, became a manager, also did implementation with a lot of local businesses. I was also on enterprise teams with Toyota, with City National Bank, got the chance to meet a lot of different executives in that corporate arena. And after about 13 to 14 years, I decided, stayed in the wireless telecom, was with, or the telecom industry, I should say, was with Sprint, was with T-Mobile, Time Warner, which is now Spectrum, and always held an account executive role or business development role. After a while, I decided, what more value can I bring? A phone is a phone, a discount is a discount, and I'd rather bring more value. So I took a lot of what I learned in all of those different positions with those different companies and decided to form the KJD Group. So with the KJD Group, it's actually an extension of your business. And what we do is we actually meet with any and all businesses and even personal individuals and decide exactly how to move their business forward. So we become a resource or we find the resource for that particular client. Currently, I have several different clients that I am connected with and that I currently partner with. We do HR support. And with that regards, what I do with them, this particular client is I am the liaison between their PEO, which is their employee, or I should say their outsourced HR department. And I'm the liaison between that department as well as their in-house employees. I do administrative services. I even have roles in their company, such as their director of marketing or membership. I am either their support manager or account manager. So I am the go-to person on behalf of that company, and I work directly with the owner or the executive team. So I do a number of things, and my team, we are open to any and all tasks. And again, if we can't become the resource, we will help find the resource.
Oh, awesome.
Excellent. Excellent. And one thing that Cammie didn't mention is that she is the director of membership and marketing for the Riverside County Black Chamber. She is phenomenal. Now, I told you I was going to let you know the backstory, right? So that's how we met. We met over in Rancho Cucamonga. There's a small business summit going on. I think it's the Hilton Hotel. I don't remember. But Cammie was there, and I was demonstrating my product, Small Biz Pro, to many of the businesses and chambers there. And I saw her, and I kind of overheard her talking to someone, and I said, "Wow, this lady sounds like she knows what she's talking about." So I drew a little closer because I wanted to hear more about what she was saying. And she was just in command of the conversation, providing information. And it's like she was educating, she was conversing, and she was also coaching at the same time. So when I heard that, I said, I gotta have her on the Buchanan and Associates team. So ever since that, we started talking, and Cammie has done some work for me with Edison. She's taught a few classes for me in the Edge program. So she's just phenomenal. Yes, she's phenomenal.
Well, we're so happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And I know that we've talked on many occasions with regards to how we all partner together and how we can come together. And especially last year, we were looking to do something to help with our community, navigate through this COVID situation. So I've done several trainings with, return to work, post-COVID, during COVID. So there's a number of things that I've been able to gain as far as information, making sure that we're all compliant, CDC compliant, OSHA compliant. So again, and that's through the HR role that I have. But there's just so many different opportunities. And as you mentioned earlier, it's been a busy time, although we've been in COVID. Or during COVID or, working from home, it's still been a very busy time for a lot of us. And what I encourage a lot of the people that I talk to is now is the chance to recreate who you are and what you do. If you're not happy with what you're currently doing, or if you've had a dream that you've been looking to pursue, now is the time to do it. And if you're not sure on how to get started, talk to one of us and we'll help point you in the right direction. But that's what I've enjoyed the most during this time, is being able to watch others recreate themselves and help them get in the right direction and point them in the right direction. So it's been a very busy time. I thank God for this opportunity. Some have seen it as a crisis. It has been, not saying that it isn't, but it's also been a chance to recreate what you do and where you want to go for the future.
What have you had some of your clients, and I know some of my clients have had some amazing pivoting stories. Have you had some clients that have had some awesome pivoting stories in this last year of the pandemic?
Yes, actually, the chamber themselves. So as Gilbert mentioned, I'm with the Riverside County Black Chamber of Commerce. I am the director of marketing and membership for them. And one of the opportunities that has come about is an actual grant opportunity. we've been able to partner with some of the organizations in the area, Riverside Community Health, as well as the Black Health Coalition. And we have been able to provide transportation for COVID testing, as well as now vaccine tests, getting their vaccine. So you can actually, if you're in the Riverside area and you either need COVID testing and or to get vaccinated, you can actually reach out to the chamber and we will schedule that and pick you up if need be. So there's been opportunities to be able to pivot what we've done or where we currently are and use that to either your business advantage or being able to be a resource for the community itself to make sure that the community is able to thrive. So that's one example. And of course, you know, being able to now with some of the other clients, preparing them to work from home, having, you know, work from home employees, telecommuters, teleworkers, and being able to prepare for that and still have the infrastructure in place, as well as making sure you have policies in place so that you're able to still continue business. A lot of people were laying, some of my clients were laying people off, but we were able to, instead of layoff, just recreate the home environment. So I've been able to help with some of my clients transition to have their employees work from home and making sure that the security was there, procedures were still there, putting protocols in place. And then now that we're slowly returning back, making sure we have in-house what's needed to be still, be safe still.
Yeah, one of the things that I think without even some of our businesses knowing is that there was a silver lining with COVID in the fact that we were able to close up some of those gaps that we had, right? Yes. In order to get, and Colette will speak on this, but in order to get that funding, the PPP and the EIDL and all the other grants, yes, everyone had to now start to function and operate their business in the correct way, right? Some of us right. Just were sliding through life and nobody really asked us anything about anything, right? Unless you were actually doing contract work. And mm-hmm. then at that point, then you had to have some issues, right? But now you have no choice.
Right.
You have no choice but to get your stuff together. And so I call that a COVID silver lining. Yes. Is that our businesses are now functioning the way they should be.
Yes, exactly. And there's been a lot of businesses who, again, if they weren't in place, as you mentioned, having all of their business in place, which of course, Gilbert and his product can help you with that. A lot of holes have been closed. The gaps have been closed, and you've been able to, again, get your stuff in order, or at least you should have been able to get your stuff in order so that you can apply for the grants and the loans and all the different opportunities out there for funding. And as we know, there's still rounds and rounds going around, and there's still funding out there. It may not be as easy to apply as it was maybe prior to, with so many different people just applying, but there's still opportunity out there. Most people don't understand that they have access to capital, they have access to funding and grants, but you do have to make sure that you have everything you need as a business. And so I've actually been able to assist a lot of additional clients and new clients that I've had become a business. You know, maybe mm-hmm. you don't have a LLC, maybe you don't have a S Corp, and you need to get that. Do you have a plan? Do you have your business in order, business plan, marketing plan? And even if you don't, that's what I assist with. And filing with the state of California, getting your EIN number, which is your employee identification number. I can help with all that. So it's been fun to watch people actually go from a dream to fruition. So I really enjoy and love assisting those through that process.
So yeah. Cami, in the interest of Women's History Month, mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a lot of our viewers out there right now watching you or will watch you on Facebook and on YouTube and say, you know, I like her. I want to be like her when I grow up. So what are some of the things that you can tell women-owned entrepreneurs who are trying to aspire to be in the the marketplace with their ideas, with their business, but they're gonna encounter some obstacles, because I know as minorities and as women-owned businesses and women in the industry, we encounter a lot of obstacles. So what are some of those obstacles that you could say you've encountered, and how did you overcome those to be Cami Taylor?
Well, one of the things is definitely be a life learner for one. Know that what you do may not fit all, but be okay with that. Learn
Mm-hmm.
from any and everyone that you come in contact with. Being in corporate
Yeah.
America, I've been able to work with hundreds of businesses. And so I've gotten the chance to actually connect with business owners and learn from them. Learn from every person and entity that you come in contact with and grow from there. Tailor it to how you want to be and how you want to grow, and make sure
Mm-hmm.
that it fits you. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
will find obstacles because our skin color may be different or because we are female instead of male, but
Mm-hmm.
still continue to be true to yourself. Continue to do what makes you happy and what you enjoy doing. And that in return will draw people to you because they see the passion and the excitement that you have. So whatever it is that you're experiencing or wanting to go to as far as the next level, partner with someone that can help you get to that next level. I
Excellent.
have so many different groups of friends and women that I am in communication with and connection with, and I love growing and learning from them. And so everything that you come in contact with is an opportunity for growth, to learn what not to do next time or to learn what you should be doing in return. So make sure
Beautiful.
that you allow yourself to be open to learn from others.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that, because those are some of the things that Crystal and I tell our clients, that they need to recognize when you encounter an obstacle. Don't see it as a roadblock. Don't see
Mhm.
it as something that's going to keep you down. But look at that obstacle and say, how is this obstacle going to make me stronger? Because,
Right.
for example, Crystal just mentioned with COVID now for a year, a lot of us, a lot of small businesses, we have refocused, we have pivoted, and now we're doing business differently. Now a lot of small businesses understand that they need to look at their back office, they need to look at the tax return, their balance sheet, their profit and loss, and really, if you're targeting your customers, what is truly their pain? What is their pain while you're trying to solve that pain for them? So that is a great thing. So I love what I just heard from you. That's amazing.
Yeah, and
Crystal?
you're absolutely right, and I think that they've embraced their businesses differently, right? A lot of us out here, I know I was a consultant for the Urban League. We had a mini grant, and so we actually sat down and spoke with individuals about their businesses and helped them in that direction of pivoting. And some of them had some talents and some skills that they didn't even think that was possible
Right.
to monetize on, and that this was a great opportunity because it really gave us an opportunity just to clear the slate, right?
Yes.
This is a whole new frontier for all of us. So just do whatever you do and do it well, and
Exactly.
use this time possibly to rebrand yourself. So I think we have discovered some amazing new business owners out here, almost like they just are starting their business all over again, and
Yes.
they're feeling the excitement. And I'm teaching some great classes with the new women's business center, and these people are all excited. I'm teaching classes with Vermont Slauson, and they're literally going, okay, what do I need to do in order to be bank loan ready? What do I need to do to be contract ready?
Right.
We weren't getting that a year
Yeah.
ago. Right?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
dragging these people we were like pulling them by their ear.
Yeah. And they're going, oh, I don't have to worry about that. That doesn't concern me. Now they see that it's concerning them. So that's great. That is great. So for
Exactly.
Yeah.
those viewers who are viewing and watching and listening to this show, Cami, what contact information do you want to put out there for them so they can get a hold of you if they need to get their business set up and have you be an extension of their business? Do you have a
Sure.
phone number, email?
I do. I do. So you can go to my website, which is the THE, and then it's the initials KJD Group. So that's Cami, Jalen, Donovan, the KJD Group. If you go there, you'll be able to actually
.com?
sketch
.com?
.com.
.com?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. www.thekjdgroup.com.
Phone
If you go to
number.
the website, you'll be able to see the phone number, as well as you can schedule a consultation right then and there. I do a free hour consultation, and you can schedule right then and there on the website. My number is 951-465-5357. That is the business number. That'll get you a hold of one of us. And then there's also my email address, which is Kamie, which is KAMIE, at thekjdgroup.com.
Okay. Well, you've been wonderful. And now we're going to bring in, we want you to stay because I think there's definitely synergy with all of us. We're going to bring in Miss Colette, and she's going to share hey, Miss Colette.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you guys. Nice to meet you, Kamie.
Nice to meet you.
So now she's been doing, as I said earlier, she's just been phenomenal during this time over at Pacific Coast Regional Center, PCR, for those of us that are here in Los Angeles. And so Colette is the Vice President and Program Director at Pacific Coast Regional Corporation in Los Angeles. She is the Director of the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC, helping small businesses to start and successfully run their business. But prior to this, she was a business owner. So she actually can relate from a business owner standpoint, and which is, I would imagine, a great asset for what you're doing, because you truly do. Sometimes I think small business owners don't feel that those that are in the banking industry or in the development industry really understands them, right? Because that's kind of corporate America. So corporate America operates quite differently than small business owners. But as a small business owner, you had a franchise. You operated a staffing franchise called Pride Staff for 8 years, and you developed it and provided candidates to a broad base of businesses for administrative to light industrial jobs. So welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the business zone, Miss Moore. That smile is just so contagious. If I'm in a bad mood and you come on and you start smiling, I'm going, okay.
Well, I'm really smiling because Crystal's such a phenomenal woman anyway. But for her to call me the correspondent, like the small bit, I was like, I like that name. I was like, awesome. I love that. And to be able to participate with that show that you do, or the community briefing, it's just amazing that a show is happening every week to provide information, because it's changing every week. And so I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the partnership that you guys just let me come in and be the correspondent every week.
Make sure you put that on your resume. I'm a correspondent.
That's awesome.
But one of the reasons, and it was just, and it just kind of happened so organically.
Yeah.
I started, and to be truthful, when I started the community briefing, it really was a one-off. I thought, okay, this is happening. The whole world, our whole world is crashing around us. How do we make sure we get the information? So I was treating it kind of like a webinar. I'm real good at webinars, right? And so I'll come online in a minute, and I was already taking my business online. So that just seemed to be a natural fit. And then I got a call from somebody going, so what's going to happen next week? I was like, next week? What's going to happen next week?
I don't know.
Well, you know why they were asking that, right? Because somebody we know, some orange person, was out there every week talking smack, and people were sick of it. They didn't want to hear it. They want to hear about COVID. They want to hear about solutions. And when Crystal came out, she just outdo everyone in the community briefing. So that's why they wanted to hear next week what was going to happen.
Right. And Crystal, we had to do the same thing. So we had to pivot with all of our advisors. Right. I was still fairly new to PCR, and I started like 3 months before COVID started. So it was
Wow.
trial by fire, but we meet now every week and we haven't stopped throughout the year because the pace of the information is so fast, and just trying to, get it into something that's manageable that people can actually use has been
Mhm.
very difficult, and making sure that our advisors can then share that with their clients, and then we can share it with you as well. But trying to is so much information as a small business, it would be overwhelming for me. And so we just try to make it as simple as possible. You know.
And you have done exactly that, because every week she comes with something new. And I mean, in the very beginning, once we got past I guess April or May, then the information was coming in from Washington and coming in. I think we had Victor Parker on, and it was just coming at us so fast we couldn't keep up. And so I had put together my own little thing, and it's like, then Colette one day said, "Hey, I have a presentation. Can I share?" Well, okay. And so then that's when she established herself as the correspondent. So there's 5 minutes that's dedicated to this correspondent every week, so that
Every
she can do
week.
that, because it's amazing. She could come on one day, one week, and then the next week she's going, "Okay, I got some updates," and then there's
Yeah.
some new stuff and some new timelines, and it comes with these interesting little nuances, like this last PPP with the carve out for the 14
Yeah.
days. Well, in all of the noise and chatter that we hear, who heard the
Right.
carve out doing when you were listening to the news? Because there's so much fighting about the fact that they're coming up with these stimulus programs, that we
Right.
needed Colette to let us know that
Yeah.
you need to go and you need to apply, right? And not only that, Colette, you actually encourage people not to be defeated, but to
Yeah.
go and apply anyway.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
and
Yes.
that's a big.
I heard Cami saying that too. It's like you have got to apply. Do not disqualify yourself from these
Right.
opportunities. And yes, it can be a little difficult, but I do believe that the businesses all throughout our community, they can do the work that's required. May need some help, but you can get the help you need too. And there are people here that are able to help you for no cost or for a fee, but there are resources to help you. So you never have to say I can't do it.
Right.
There's plenty of help.
As a matter of fact, Colette, I had a participant call me today wanting to know about the PPP program, and I told her to tune into the show today because you're going to be here and you're going to be telling her everything she needs to know about that. So she's probably viewing right now. But one of our viewers, her name is Latrice Johnson. She has a question for you.
Hmm.
So she said, with the excess of COVID-19 related loans and stimulus funds being dispersed, do you feel like that could create an overstimulation of the economy and ultimately causing an economic recession? How can small businesses prepare for such a crisis as a recession? I think that's a great question.
I don't think it's been overstimulated, honestly.
Yeah,
For small businesses have struggled. I was out today, and I rarely get out, but I was out today and I saw just the number of businesses that are closed and boarded up, or you see new lease signs. And so I don't believe it to be an overstimulation. I don't think a recession could be any worse than a complete shutdown, honestly.
yeah,
And so,
yeah.
so many businesses have had to close or be partially closed during this pandemic, and no one anticipated that. And so,
Hmm.
a recession couldn't be any worse than the situation where so many of our businesses found themselves, whether
Hmm.
it's a hairstylist or a restaurant, or even some of the businesses that support, the arts, movie theaters.
Mhm.
There- so many businesses closed, and so I don't think that it's too much to. I don't think it's overstimulation. I think it's an opportunity to help people to get the money they need to stay open, to continue operating and continue to serve. And they have shown that there is a backlog of people that are interested in going out and spending money. right? So all the money that you didn't spend, my mom is 93 years old. She was telling me, oh, I had a trip plan. I had this plan. I need to go buy something. And so some people have some pent up demand to spend.
Yeah.
And I want small businesses to be in the place to be able to provide the services and the goods for those people that are still ready to spend. And then, to be able to take that money for their own generational wealth, to be able to give it to other people. So I don't think it's overstimulation, but I do think the shift to more grant type programs has been helpful. And our community has been very reluctant to take loans. And Gilbert has heard me say the PPP program, it is a loan that with forgiveness is a grant. And so many in our community don't understand that. So they just think, oh, I don't need a loan. But this is a grant. It could be a big grant for your business. And it is now available for sole proprietors, which it wasn't as good for sole props before. But it is a grant, and we can help you with the forgiveness piece so that you don't miss out. And I think too many in our community didn't think that it applied to them, but it does apply.
Right.
And if you're not sure, get some help and make sure you understand whether you can or cannot apply. We want you to be able to get the money. So that's why I'm always encouraging. I don't apply for everything, but find out how it's going to work for your business, but don't assume that you could never do it. And frankly, for access to capital, this is the best time for access to capital. All of these loans, the rates are low, the terms are long for most of them. You can get by with some marginal credit scores. You don't have to put any money down. There's all these things that there's a lot of value, and I want our community to take advantage of these programs because everybody else is. So we want our communities in there because it helps our community.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So the participant that I mentioned to you earlier is she's here viewing the show, and she has another question. She wants to know. She says she wants to learn as much about the PPP program process from you as possible. Now, her business is the travel business. So, those organizations who they plan cruises and they plan that's her type of business. Now, there are organizations that they act as, I don't know how to say this. Let's say they have agents underneath them, and those agents go out and sell these packages. So she's wondering, how does a PPP loan view those types of businesses? And if there's loans available for those types of entrepreneurs, how do they need to position themselves? What type of documents?
I was going to ask, are you referring to like multi-level marketing?
Yes, something like that. Yes, something like that. So
typically you can't claim your contractors for these types of grants. For the EIDL, you can. So that's the emergency disaster loan. So that one you can. You're just really working with your gross profit, your net profit. And so it's not really asking about paycheck. The Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, does require the employees, but you can always file as a sole proprietor and as an individual. And so I think that's what people don't understand, is that there is an opportunity. Early on in the program, it wasn't as good for sole props, and it was better for people to file just unemployment because they were taking unemployment for sole proprietors. But now that it's open for other businesses that have agents and things like that, you can certainly apply. And I'm certain that because the hospitality industry has been hit so hard, that I'm certain you would be able to show either the 25% reduction in your revenue or your net revenue. So you'll be able to show that reduction. All the hospitality companies are able to show that to be able to participate.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Crystal, you had a question?
I did have a question. So Colette, one of the great things is that with these grants and loans and forgiveness loans, a lot of our small businesses had an opportunity that they probably, if they had applied loans pre-COVID or pre-pandemic, they may not have actually been approved, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. This is a great time.
The threshold was
the threshold was much harder to get a loan. And I know that as an entrepreneur, I was able to get financing for my business, but I know how difficult that is. I had a business plan. I just come out of the 10,000 small business program. I had my business plan in hand. But right now, typically, you don't have to have a business plan in order to get the loan. But many of them, the grants now are showing that you must have shown profitability prior to the pandemic. And so that's key for anything. You have to be able to be sustainable in a business. And that's key for anyone. You don't want to be in a business where you are continuing to lose money and you need to make some hard decisions about whether you stay in or come out of the business and maybe do something else. And so, those are real decisions. And I think some of the pivoting that Cammie had mentioned, we saw a lot of businesses that pivoted to online. They pivoted from service programs to physical products. Everything started going online. And so I think people really, or different clients, a different client base, some cleaning companies. I know, Crystal, there was one on the show yesterday, pivoted to with the, COVID cleaning, new level degrees of cleaning that weren't available before. So businesses have certainly pivoted during this time, but others still need help because the industry just collapsed.
Yeah.
There's no way you can't do cruises when there are no boats on the water. I mean, you can't do it, So, but you can apply for these loans now with the grants with the expectation that your business can be sustainable in the future.
So, Colette, one of the things that Crystal and I do in this program with the Business Zone is we use the platform Small Biz Pro, as you know, to help them do their assessment. And the assessment is to determine where you are in the process. Are you ready? Do you have these things that's going to be required from lenders? And I think that's a great way for many of these small businesses and entrepreneurs to start preparing themselves. So when they come to organizations like yours and other lenders, they're ready. They actually have everything in place. So if you ask them, do you have 3 years tax return? Yes, I do. Do you have your balance sheet, your profit? Yes, I do. All of those types of things. So could you just speak to that a little bit, why it's so important for them to have those things ahead of time?
Well, we found out during COVID that so many of the Black and brown businesses were not prepared. I know, Cammie, you mentioned that, and Gilbert, you all know, like, you still don't have a bookkeeper, and you've been in business for 10 years, and you still don't have records. You didn't pay your taxes. You're paying people under the table. You've got an operating business, but now when it's time to show the Paycheck Protection Program, you have no records that people got paid. It's like, so all of those things can hurt you when you are going for funding because the bankers are specifically looking at how you tell the story of your business. And so, we're actually been using that assessment, Gilbert, and it's amazing to see whether people have these things that make them bankable. And many of our businesses don't, but they can. So actually during COVID, we created a financial fitness program. So we're doing a cohort where one of the key things is you've got to know your numbers. You have to be able to tell the story of your business with your numbers, but so many people don't understand a balance sheet or how to get there. And so we're taking a cohort, we're providing financial information on a weekly basis on Financial Fitness Fridays. We're having bankers come in. And one of the things we're doing with the assessment in the cohort is using that to help train. So, and it gives people confidence because I know that small businesses can do the work. So they go from really not understanding what a balance sheet is, what a cash flow statement looks like, or what some of the key ratios that are on that assessment that people should know about their business but don't. By the time they finish just that 4 weeks, they can speak with much more authority and confidence about their business because they know their numbers. And so that is one of our goals. And we're continuing to work with Gilbert to use that as a tool throughout our business. We've been testing it with the financial fitness piece, but we want to expand that because it does help give people a guide in terms of what they know and then what they need to know. And it can help our advisors too in terms of guiding them to be bank ready.
Yes.
That's
Beautiful.
fantastic. There was a question from Danielle. What about someone, and this is as far as the PPP, and if you don't mind, Colette, we'd love for you to share your, the little presentation that you do for us, if you have it available for the community.
I can share a little bit.
Okay, a little bit. She wants to know, is there, if someone can apply for the PPP if they have more than one business?
Yes. Yes, but you need to, yes, you can. But right now, the PPP has been really a kind of per individual. I know the EIDL is like that, and they're looking at individuals' credit, not just business credit. And so individual businesses can, legitimate businesses can apply for the PPP as long as they are legitimized, you've got all of your banking statements, you've got all of that. So the banks are still requiring some of that information, and they need to be clearly separate. I know some of the grant programs, for example, you can only apply for one business. That's it. If your name is on there, and then that's it. You apply for the biggest of you apply for the largest business to be able to get the largest grant, but it's typically only one business. But yes, you can for PPP, but you also, everything has to be like really clear, and you would work with an advisor to make sure that you're doing that properly.
And for those of you who are viewing this show, The Business Zone, which is on every Friday from 3 to 4, I would like you to go into the chat and look at the information there. You've got information for Miss Colette Moore. Her phone number is there. The name of her organization is there. And the contact information for Miss Cammie Taylor is also there, and our phone number. So please, if you need that information, just go ahead, copy it down, and reach out to them so they can help you in your endeavors to obtain and grow your business.
And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and especially our YouTube channel. We're looking to grow our subscribers, so go over there and hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a dime, but every time we broadcast on Friday, you will get a notification that we're on. And we've had some amazing guests, and even when we don't have guests, you get the opportunity to get I call it classroom in session with Gilbert and I. Both of us are consultants and coaches, and we teach workshops, and we get paid quite handsomely for that. and we're giving that to you totally free. So all we're asking is for you to subscribe to the Business Zone. So just run on over to YouTube and hit that little bell and hit the subscribe button, and make sure you hit the bell so that you'll be notified of our next show. So
Crystal,
our shameless plug.
Crystal, our anniversary is coming up, Crystal.
Wow.
Right? Crystal?
Yes, we will be 5 years in July. July 8th will be our 5th year on the air with the Business Zone. And so we want to grow those numbers. We have some some things that we want to do, and it requires us monetizing our channel. So in order to do that, we need numbers. So if you guys really are champions of Crystal and Gilbert Buchanan, then please go over there and subscribe to our channel.
And tell your friends, all your small business friends, tell them to go and subscribe. Okay.
I'm sorry, Colette. Latrice wants to know, will the PPP and the EIDL loans report on your business credit?
Yes. So EIDL, they all run business credit. So initially EIDL was saying, oh, we're not going to do a pull, but then everybody we know was getting a pull on their credit. And so, yes, they are checking your credit. And, one of the things that they're trying to do is eliminate some of the scams. And we've heard about some of them, but overwhelmingly, the right people are getting the money. There's always going to be somebody that tries to take advantage of any quick loopholes that they can find, but they are finding those people, and they'll be held accountable for scamming the system. But yes, you will get credit pulls on these. You will get those pulls. But will people hold that against you? it's in the middle of a disaster. So like,
the good thing is you're able to use this time for your advantage. So
Yes.
as they mentioned earlier, loans that we wouldn't have had access to, we have access to now.
Right.
So capitalize on the opportunity and don't look at it as a detriment.
Yep.
Right.
Right. And this is just a method of doing business, right? This is what we want to do, is to be able to grow our businesses so that we are can scale them. We can. This is a great time for us to really look at our business and see that growth that we always wanted. Now there's capital out there for you. So utilize that capital, whether it's a loan that you can have forgiveness or a grant that is out there. But this is the time for you to be able to take that wish list and create that wish list that you want in your business. And this is a pet peeve of mine, when we have businesses that we're, our gross, not our net, our gross revenues is 30, maybe 50 or $60,000. Well, you can do that at a job. Right?
Yeah.
You can go work for someone and make $60,000, because at the end of the day, after all the expenses and all the headache and all that sort of stuff, you're gonna come away with 50%.
50% is being taken by taxes. So if you make 50 grand, you're gonna end up with about 25 grand. So keep that in mind. Now there's someone else with another question. Antoine Banks wants to know, for businesses new to payroll, what is the proper proofs? That's for you.
You're going to have, pay your payroll statements. You'll have bank statements, a variety of things for proper proof. So how you pay your people, if you're working with like an ADP or a Paychecks or something, you'll be able to get the proper reports as well. They have reports for PPP that are already formatted that you will be able to submit to your bank. And if you start doing payroll, I recommend that you get some help. So for example, I know Crystal does this as well, but you need to make sure that you're tracking, that you have proper accountability. We have an advisor, Georgette Huckabee, that helps people get set up on either QuickBooks or some other accounting software so that you can better manage your expenses and your revenue and what's left. So, on the payroll side, they'll be looking for the payroll expenses, but your bank statements and some of those other things can suffice. But a payroll statement is actually better.
So I also... Go ahead, Crystal. Go ahead.
On the new PPP, so they're asking, I know I've had this question by several people. So you have to show a 25% reduction from 2020 to now, right? Is that
yes? Well, they have different periods, so you will have to look to see which period is the best period for you to use. And so there are like 3 different methods. It could be the whole year, it could be 1 quarter, versus like it could be the first quarter in 2020 versus another quarter or an average of 3. So there are a couple of different ways that they're allowing you to look at it to find out what's best for your business and how your business was impacted.
Wasn't there also a employee requirement, like you couldn't have had too many layoffs or so many employees who have lost their jobs, or you have to keep the same amount of employees or something to that effect?
That is for the forgiveness piece. So you still have to have 60% of the money for the forgiveness had to go to employee cost. And then the other 40% can be used, rent, utilities, and it's actually broadened. So that was one of the things in the 2021 version of the PPP, is that they expanded the non-payroll to include things like, putting the chairs or the concrete blocks outside of your restaurant, or getting screens put up in your retail store, all of those things that you had to do for PPP. So they expanded some of those other the non-payroll expenses. But to get forgiveness, you still have to spend, 60%. For sole props, you should be getting 100%. So if you're the only one and you're still working, then you get your money.
So I also want to share this with the audience out there that, we're talking about employees and all of that. Keep in mind that if you're going to report employees or you're going to take credit for employees, make sure those employees are registered with EDD, the Employment Development Division, right? Department. You want to make sure those guys are registered there, because if they're not registered, when you go to a lender and say, hey, I have 5 employees, you got to show proof that you have 5 employees. And the way to show proof is that they were registered with EDD, the Employment Development Department. And when you registered with EDD, you will receive a quarterly report. It's called DE9C. And that form has a list of all your employees, their social, and all of that stuff. So please keep that in mind. A lot of small businesses
have
miss
to have
that.
an account with the state, with the
Yeah.
EDD.
Well,
That's what they have to have, and then they have to submit their taxes,
Yes.
their tax payments for the employees to EDD, and
Right.
then they will create that D3. So you actually have to go through the process. So what we're basically saying is your 1099, or as Colette said, your under the table staff is not an employee. you have not set up payroll with the Employment Development Department. So that is what is that is the definition of an employee. That you're taking and withdrawing payroll taxes and paying into the Social Security system and the Medicare. So you're doing your FICA and your FUTA and your SUTA and making sure that that's set up. So, and that includes yourself if you're an employee, making sure that you're set up in a payroll system. And that's what ADP does. That's what QuickBooks does. And that's what Paychex does, is making sure. But you have to go through the whole process of doing that. And so some people kind of like to skirt around that. And there's no skirting around. If they're employees, they're employees. And you need to. But also, and this I think happened quite a bit, you couldn't just bring on employees for the purpose of PPP. You had to have employees for the duration. It's not you didn't get the PPP loan and you could get forgiveness. This is a commitment. Employees are a commitment.
Yes,
they are. I'm like, listen to Gilbert and Crystal on this. They really are. Yes, they really are. And you know, I think some people just think it's a little short-sighted, because you're like, oh, I don't want to pay the employee taxes and I don't want to do this. But now here's a program that you didn't do that, and you miss out on like huge potential for money because it wasn't done, the proper way or the recognized way. So we want you all to be able to get everything you can for this funding. And so that requires, being on the up and up in terms of your finances.
And the one thing I also want to point out there, audience, don't just set up your business just to get a PPP loan, because that's not what business is about. You want to set up the business that way so it can thrive and it can continuously grow, because the same things you're doing for PPP loan, you're going to need that for your certifications. You're going to need it to get a contract. You're going to need it for a lot of different things. So don't just think about a loan here. Think about the growth and expansion of your business.
Right. And for PPP, you have to have been in business by September 2019. So you can't just create it and get a loan now.
Right. Now, Colette, you have some classes on how to get ready, and for those that are doing the forgiveness that you do every Thursday afternoon. So would you like to share that with us?
We do every Wednesday. We do a full update of the financial, options, and so that will include PPP updates, idle, shuttered venue. There's a new one that's coming out. We just heard about today for restaurants that was in the new bill that was signed. So whenever those things up, so every Wednesday we are updating, and sometimes in great detail how to do that. So people come in and you can come back and back and back again. That's what we recommend, because some of it is complex, but it's not that you can't do it. You just may have to hear it a couple of times and get some help to walk through it. And then every Thursday we're covering PPP forgiveness, because we want everyone to be able to erase the debt. It's erasable. It is erasable. And I know, PCR, we are now offering the PPP for round one or for the first draw. So anybody that has not gotten a PPP loan, we're doing that. And PCR is very interested to help the clients get the forgiveness. So that's one of the things that I know our office is doing, is to make sure that people are the forgiveness stuff is ready. It's ready to go, because we want the loan forgiven. And that's the whole point of this. A loan forgiven is what? A grant. And everybody says, I want a grant. I want a grant. This is your biggest grant that you could probably ever get
Right.
without doing a 20-page proposal to do it. Right?
What time
In black
on
ink,
Wednesday?
Yeah.
What time on Wednesday and what time on Thursday are these workshops?
So the Wednesday workshop is at 1:00 and you can find that at www.pcrsbdc.org, and you can do the drop down of workshops. And so every Wednesday, that is the funding workshop, and then every Thursday is the PPP forgiveness workshop.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the website. It's
www.pcrsbdc.org.
Actually, her information is right there on the stream on the screen.
Okay.
And so if they just go www.pcrsbdc.org, you'll get all her information. And then and then if you really want to just come out and meet her every week, she's corresponding every Thursday afternoon, every Thursday morning at 11 a.m.
Other than that, you won't be able to get a hold of Miss Colette Moore, because believe me, I tried, and she is super busy. Okay,
yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Just so many programs. We saw the need, like you guys do, to get the information out, and so hence, the Restaurant Academy that we have to get information out to all the restaurants of how they could increase their profit during COVID, how they could add grocery, how they could do all these things to make money, even with the doors closed for their regular sit-down service.
Yes.
Between that, the Financial Academy, and all these other workshops, I'm tired.
See,
I feel you, Coach. I feel you, because I think I work harder.
That is why you three women are super women. You guys are phenomenal. You guys work 24/7. So I take my hat off to you ladies.
I have to run every Saturday morning to the tennis court so no one can call me, and then I'm in my garden every Sunday so no one can call me, because you just need to have that break. Because I have worked harder in this last year than I think I have worked in all of my 30 years of working.
Yes, that is true. That is so true. That is so true.
That is true.
So is there any last piece of nugget both you ladies would like to leave the audience to let them know what to do?
Go ahead, Colette.
So I do want to share that we do have advisors, because this is part of the SBDC. So we're funded by the SBA in the state of California. So we do have advisors. Most of them have their own businesses. Some are ex-bankers. We're doing certification and marketing in a variety of different areas, but we can assist you if you set up time with us. And we don't have to be your only resource. When I had my business, trust me, I used a variety. VSEDC, I used anybody that had information. I was going to get service and to get some help. And so I encourage you, if you send an email to that info@pcrsbdc.org, we can assist you. And I guess for me, parting words is continue to keep going. This is a time for a fresh start. This is a time to spring forward. We're about to spring forward on Sunday with our time, but small businesses can advance, and you don't have to take baby steps. You can go further, and you can dream bigger than you ever have before. And so now I think the one thing this has helped identify is all these different resources. And so you can get help. You are not by yourself. And so use your resources wisely. And we look forward to assisting you at PCR SBDC.
Awesome.
I say ditto. She took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the same exact thing. And, live your dream. Now's a chance to really leave a legacy for you, for your family. So take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. And if you don't know what's out there, of course, you don't know what you don't know, but you have people around you who do. So utilize your resources, grow, and continue to thrive. And again, pay it forward. Teach the next person.
Exactly. And I have to agree. And this is a time many people have been able to create multiple streams of revenue. I always tell my clients, and especially from an accounting bookkeeping standpoint, don't rely on just one resource of revenue to come into your business, because unbeknownst to us, the whole entire economy shut down, right? And if everything that your revenue was built upon live human bodies that you could touch and feel every single day, then all of a sudden you had to create this revenue stream coming in through a digital platform. So, creating a digital entrepreneur piece of your business is vital right now. Use your brain wealth, use your subject matter expertise to create other revenue sources, like workshops and training and consulting. I had a number of restaurant owners and chefs that I actually consulted with this year. And, everything was sheltered, right? They shuttered. They couldn't run their businesses. And some of them even couldn't do outdoor services. And some of them, they were dine-in. So their menu did not adapt to a takeout menu. And it cost them more to do that. So some of them had to make some decisions that it wasn't worth it to be open. Yep. It cost me more to be open, right? So I said, well, you've been in this business for 30 years. You have a wealth of knowledge. Become a consultant for those individuals and do some blogging and create a podcast and monetize that. Yes. Now you can be creative, and there's a lot. It's like starting business all over, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I have a ball doing what I do, so I'll throw together a show in a hot minute.
We all do, I think now. Oh my gosh!
I call my co-host the digital ninja, because she's just so phenomenal. She just knows how to do all of these things, these little digital things. I'm going, how did you know that? How do you figure that? She's just amazing. So I just hold on to her coattails and just take the free ride.
And I had a couple of people call me, email me. They met me. Well, they actually searched me out on LinkedIn, and they're like, "Okay, I watched your shows. I want to start one. Can you co-host with me?"
No. I will share everything else, but I'm not sharing her with that. Right. This is Crystal and Gilbert. This will always be Crystal. I'm not sharing her with anybody else. So there are two of our listeners said, thank you all for the wealth of knowledge. That's from Leatrice Johnson, and Linda Butler said, thanks everyone. This was a great live celebrating Women's History Month. So thanks to all of you guys for listening.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Guys.
Thank you guys.
And bless all of my phenomenal women on the call.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You notice I'm in my little corner just enjoying you three. I'm enjoying all three of you because you guys are so phenomenal, man. This is amazing. So thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. And go ahead, Crystal.
So before we sign off, we want to definitely thank both of our amazing, phenomenal women for sharing their expertise and experiences with us, and helping us helping us as small businesses just become better, and so that we can approach 2021, 2022 thriving and not just barely hanging on. So I commend anyone that was able to bring their business through 2020 and come out to this other side, because it was rough. And right now we just have to focus in on getting ourselves to the other side. But the only way we can get to that other side is making sure that we can protect ourselves. So I do know there are a lot of fear and myths that go along with the vaccine, but the alternative to the vaccine is getting COVID, dying from COVID. And even if you survive from COVID, the long haulers are just having tremendous problems. So if you can protect yourself, I got my shot yesterday, and I feel like, okay, a weight has been lifted. And so I want to make sure that our community understand how important this is. Do your research. I was blessed yesterday to get the Johnson and Johnson shot, so that's it for me. I'm one and done. and I didn't have. I had only a little bit of a twinge in my arm. My nephew got it yesterday. He had some chills, but we shoved him some tea in him and some lots of water. Drink lots of water and take ibuprofen. And let's get past this, but we have to step out there. But at the same time, we still have to mask up. We still have to social distance, and we have to be safe, not just for ourselves, but for our family and our loved ones. But we are not ready yet to be 100% back to whatever. We are never going to be back to 2019, but we're going to be this new norm, but we got to be safe in this new norm. So I want to thank you guys all
and different people are going to react differently because your body is set up differently. So just be prepared for that and just take the proper precaution. If you got to take Tylenol or Aleve or whatever, just do that. It's better than getting COVID. Okay.
Oh, anything. So now, take care of yourself.
Crystal, we've got two people in there giving the group a lot of love. So I'd like to tell you about those. We got VR Davis. VR Davis says, it's such an honor being in the presence of these phenomenal speakers and the hosts. Awesome show. Awesome show. And then Fernando Young said, God bless and thanks much. First time, and it won't be the last. So for those of you guys who are tuning in for the first time, Crystal and I would like for you guys to go to YouTube and click that subscription button, or go to Facebook, whichever platform you're using now to view this show. Just click on the subscription button, and so you can become one of our regulars, and we can embrace you guys, take care of you, and give you all the great information you need. Okay, and tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Increase our subscribers, though. We need you to run on over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button.
Go to YouTube and tell 5 of your friends. Each one of you tell 5 of your friends.
Yeah, because we're gonna have more phenomenal people like this that are bringing information to us. That is just, my whole thing is, if you are not at the table where the decisions are being made for you, then you are on the menu and they're being made
about you.
About you.
I love that. That's great.
Wow.
Say it again, Crystal. Say it again.
If you're not in the room with the people that are making the decisions or at the table, then you are on the menu and they're talking about you.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much.
We want to make sure we're not on the menu. We want to make sure we're at the table where the decisions are being made, or at least in the presence of the people that are sitting at the table, and they have your best interest at hand. So thank you guys so much. We went over a little bit, but we want to thank our 2 lady guests, and I will make sure you guys get a copy of this video, and excuse our early part of our, we can't do anything about the technology.
Worry about it.
It is what it is, but it all worked out well. So thank you guys, and have a great weekend. Be safe. And mask up, social distance, and what else is there? That's it.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Get your PPP.
There you go.
Get your PPP.
The deadline is March 31st, so get in there and get that loan. Go over to PCR website, because they got an abundance of information about grants and so forth, and there's some just a wealth of information out there for you. So please contact Miss Cami over there for consulting for all aspects of business, and she can make sure that you are on point to making sure you have a thriving business. So, and of course, Gilbert and I, you are tuned into the Business Zone with Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic.
All right. Good night, guys. Have a fantastic week, and we will see you next week.
Oh no, next week you're out, Crystal.
Oh, so right. Stop that for a minute. Yeah,
The
next week
following week.
I'm heading to a wedding next week in Cancun. It's a destination wedding.
Crystal is getting
Nice.
married, folks. Crystal is
No,
getting
Crystal
married.
is not getting married.
Wow.
Crystal is going to celebrate the marriage of one of her play nephews, and we're so excited for him. No, Crystal ain't getting married, and some much needed R&R, but I'm doing it safely. And we're making sure that everybody's there is going to be safe. So we'll see you the week after. But again, have a fantastic week and be safe. Now we're out.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Great show.
Let me end the show.